Good morning again, y'all. So I made a mistake. I also realized that I needed to do binomials first before we did the remainder. Um, so that way we can just all tie all three videos together. So actually going to be three videos. This is the second one. So the first video, and I left up the last problem that we're dealing with about dividing a monomial um, into a polynomial. So we're going to take that, we're going to build it one step up. And this time we're going to have a polynomial and we're going to divide that by a binomial, so a true term polynomial. Now with this, what we need to focus on is the first term in the binomial. In this case, we do not have a coefficient. It is just m. It's just a variable. And then we're going to go through each term of the polynomial and see how many times can we put m into the polynomial. That's because that's going to be our determining factor. It's going to be the one that's going to be the has the most power over this situation. So what can we multiply m by to get to m cubed? So just like with r in this problem over here, we were going to multiply m to get to m cubed. We need to multiply it by m squared. So I'm going to write m squared here. And then we're going to multiply this term into our binomial to get what we're going to take away down here. So I'm going to do m squared times m, and I'm going to get m cubed. Then I'm going to multiply m squared times 7, because we're not just going to, just like with distributive property, we're not going to just distribute to one, we're distributing it to both terms. So m squared times 7 is going to be 7m squared. And if you need help seeing that, I'm going to write this in a different color, okay, just to show you. So what this was is that we took m squared and we multiplied it by m plus 7. Okay, so we did that to get what we're going to take away. So I'm going to take that away using the inverse, just like with long division when we were back in elementary school. So m cubed minus m cubed will cancel. That's 0. And if you want, I'm going to go ahead and write 0 for you. You do not need to write 0. M squared minus 7m squared is going to be negative 6m squared. And then I'm going to bring the rest of it down. So negative 36m and positive 42. All right. So now I need to ask myself again, what do I need to multiply m by to get negative 6m squared? Well, just focusing on the variable first, m times what gives me m squared? That will be m. And then what times m is going to give me negative 6? And that's going to be negative 6. This is a 1 right here. So now we're going to multiply, and again, to show you what I'm doing, I'm going to take this term right here, this negative 6m, I'm going to multiply it by m plus 7. Alright, so I'm going to multiply that. So negative 6m times m is negative 6m squared. Negative 6m times 7 is negative 42m. This is getting a little close, but then we're going to subtract it. So this is what this is. That's how we got there. So what's in red, you do not need to write. I'm just showing you how I got here. All right. So negative 6m squared minus negative 6m. So a double negative makes that a positive. So we're like adding the opposite. So negative 6m plus 6m will cancel. So that's 0. And then negative 36m plus 42. This is subtracting a negative 42. So if we added 42 to 36, we would get before 2, so that's negative, I'm sorry, positive 6m, and bring down the rest, so plus 42. And again, you don't need to write this 0, that way then you don't have to write this plus. I'm just writing everything and keeping it in a row. And then we need to ask ourselves, what do we need to multiply m by to get to 6m? Well, we're going to multiply by 6. So again, we're going to take our new term that we just uncovered, our 6. So I'm going to do 6 times our divisor, so m plus 7. 6 times m is going to be 6m. 6 times 7 is positive 42. And then we're going to do the inverse to subtract, just like long division, like we've been doing the whole time. 6m minus 6m, 0. 42 minus 42, 0. 0 plus 0 is just 0, so you could have just written that 0 instead of me writing that all that extra, so that's just 0. So this is our answer. And to show that we got this right, you can check, and the check is to multiply this by our divisor. So if you wanted to check, you're going to do m plus 7 times m squared minus 6m plus 6. So if you multiplied these, would you get the same answer? And I'm going to, because I'm short on space, I'm going to say that you would, because m times m squared is m cubed. M times negative 6m is going to be negative 6m squared plus the 7m squared, because 7 times m squared would give you that, gives you the m squared here. And then continuing on, you would see that you still get the same answer. If you want to check that for yourself on your own paper, go ahead and pause and do so, but you would get the same answer. Now, what I'd like you to do, again, is that I want you to pause the video here, and I want you to try this problem on your own. Once you're done, unpause it and check to see if you got the right answer. I'm going to work it out in a few seconds, just to give everybody a chance to pause. And then we're going to go through it. Okay. So again, focusing on the variable, your first term in the binomial, the r, you have to ask yourself, looking at your first term underneath the division symbol, what do I have to do to the r cubed? How do I get from r to r cubed? I need to multiply r by r squared. And then you're going to do that to each term in that binomial. So you're going to do r squared times r minus 3, multiply. And when you multiply r squared by r, you get r cubed. And when you do r squared times negative 3, you get negative 3r squared. Do the inverse. R cubed minus r cubed cancels. I'm not going to draw the 0 this time, okay? Just know that that cancels. Negative 12r squared minus negative 3r squared, so negative 12r squared plus 3r squared would give us negative 9r squared. Bring down the rest. And then we need to ask ourselves, what do I need to multiply r by to now get to negative 9r squared? Focusing on the variable first, r times what gives me r squared? Well, r times r gives me r squared. And then what times 1, because that's the coefficient for r, would give me negative 9. In this case, it's going to be negative 9. Negative 9r times r will give us negative 9r squared. So now you're going to multiply negative 9r times r minus 3. Multiply in, so sorry that I keep changing the colors just to help you know that this is what's occurring underneath here. So negative 9r times r is going to be negative 9r squared. Negative 9r times negative 3 is going to be positive 27r. We're going to subtract negative 9r squared minus negative 9r squared, so the double negative. We're going to be adding, so negative 9r squared plus 9r squared gives us 0. 32r minus 27r is going to give us 5r, and then bring down the rest. And now we're down to, what do we have to multiply r minus 3 to get 5r minus 15? So what do I need to multiply r by to get to 5r? Well, I don't need to multiply by a variable. My degrees are the same, so what do I need to multiply the integer by? So 1 times what gives me 5? It's going to be positive 5. And then so I'm going to then take my new term that I just found out. So I'm going to take the 5 and multiply by r minus 3. 5 times r is 5r. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And then we're going to subtract. And it happens to cancel out very nicely. So that's your answer. Hopefully you did that well. If not, see if you can find your mistake. And if you can't find your mistake, if you could snap a picture and then email that to me so we can kind of break down the problem together. I'm going to do one more video with a remainder just to kind of go over that. And hopefully this helps. Talk to you soon.